I'm going to tell you the story of some people who built small cities underground, believing that was the only place they would be safe. Why did they need a place to be safe? They had angered the people so badly by taking what they wanted by force every day, for days, for years, for eons. They needed a place to be safe. They took refuge in cities beneath the ground, built of concrete and steel. They used the most expensive engineers who sought to make their palaces impregnable, indestructible, impermeable. No one could enter or exit unless they had permission of the owner and the code. Oh yes, they believed they were safe. But what did they forget? They were also arrogant that they believed they were the only ones who had power. For they had the use of the money machine, indeed they did. A machine generating cash endlessly, forever it seemed, pouring into their coffers. They could bribe, spend, and do what they liked with that. But what had they forgotten? In this same realm beneath the surface of the earth lived many other beings. There were many other seen and unseen beings. Some we would call people, you know them as the elves, the elven folk who long ago decided to live deep within the earth on another parallel dimension. Not in darkness, no, in another kind of light. And they wove their cities there safe, but we're not talking about them. The elves had their place in this story, but not now. Those other giants who roam the soils and the rocks beneath the surface of our planet, oh, they are the ones we are going to be looking for and at and through their eyes. For they saw these bunkers and they felt the emanations from them and they knew they were poisonous. They did not yet know what they could do. In their power, they got on with doing what they do, building soil, shifting rock, moving minerals up and down and through the water bodies. Down below the surface, these were the earth beings, the earth elementals. In community with the water would pass down and through and they would exchange information gleaned from the air beings, and then the human vibration touched them. And they heard a message, and the message was, it is time now, with your quaking, with your shaking, you can stir in the soil. You can make these little pinpricks of concrete fall in on themselves, like dominoes. And they liked this idea. It tickled them pink. Somehow they could eradicate these nasty little toxic injections from their realm. They were preventing them roaming freely through the soil and the rock. And now with the idea, they had a meeting, they held it and spoke to each other. What could we do? We could tremble and shake with our tremors. Ah, good, good. We could crush them in with our movements, grind them together. Ah, good, good. We could disintegrate them with our underwater streams. Yes, further good. And so on that day, they began their progress. They decided to erode and carve and compress, to crumble and crush, to shake and tremor so that the steel and the concrete parted ways, and all that were left were twisted remnants sandwiched within the great rock bodies of the earth's crust. And those beings, we cannot call them human, the ones who held the money pockets in their jars, the ones who decided to do exactly what they wanted, no matter who or what stood in their paths. Suddenly they had nowhere to go. In their exquisitely lined marble and gold coffins, they were trapped. And their souls, did they have any? Who was coming to claim them? Did they remember their connection to divine source, to the creator that could hold all of us? No, they couldn't even call for it. And slowly the walls of these homes, these strange battalion castle-like structures, yes, the miles of steel and concrete, seeming impregnable, were crushing around them. The systems overloaded, the electrical cables circuited, small fires, and the water seeping in, soddening their carpets and their furniture rotting. And they realized all the gold in the world, all the jewels, could not combat these giants. Before I tell you the end, though, let us talk with one of these beings. When I was small, I knew one. I had a very small rock called Alfonso. So the Alfredo who is about to speak is a friend of that rock. These beings, they roam very slowly. Their voices so very low, so low, far lower than I can go. Their movements so subtle to us, and yet push, 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 and crack. Suddenly a rock fissure will open up. A pressure will snap, and change happens, and it seems as though they are fast, but these beings are slow. But they heard the message. They heard the message from those folk, the folk who still had their connection to the fairy realm. They heard it loud and clear. We know what we are doing now. We can remove these. We can remove these from our soil. We never liked them. We feel our mother coming through, this earth calling to us, as you do. From above, from below, we are called into the fight, and we go for. They had no business invading our space. They didn't use our materials. They did not commune with us or listen to us. We know their foreign nature. It is time. And so the compression perpetuated until all of those pinpricks they were to these earth giants, all the pinpricks were crushed. And those who had worked their dark magic against the people of the surface were forever entombed in their concrete and steel palaces, lined with gold and marble, a grand tomb for a sad story. And those on the surface began to dance.